instead of breaking to add the co-sponsors to those resolutions, I'll just make sure that when we do print up the resolutions that they reflect all the co-sponsors. Otherwise, we can go right into the next
Everyone
meeting.
okay with that?
Yes.
Thank you very much. All right. Going to regular meeting agenda. At this time, I'll call this meeting to order. Clerk of the board, please call the roll.
Freeholder Bergen.
Here.
Freeholder Carter.
Here.
Freeholder Estrada.
Present.
Freeholder Garrettson.
Here.
Freeholder Hudak.
Here.
Freeholder Jallo.
Here.
Freeholder Mirabella.
Here.
Vice Chairman Kowalski.
Here.
Chairman Granados.
Here.
Chairman, you have 9 freeholders present.
Clerk of the board, please lead us in the prayer and salute to the flag.
Humbly we ask God, the giver of peace and lover of charity, to give the entire family of nations true agreement with his will, and to grant the light of his spirit on all who work for justice and peace. Amen. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk of the board, please read a statement of compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act.
The chair wishes to announce that pursuant to the requirements of New Jersey statutes annotated Title 10, Chapter 4, Section 10 of the Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of this meeting of the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Union has been given by mailing the annual meeting schedule for the year 2018, along with periodic changes necessitated by circumstances, to the newspapers circulating within the County of Union who are designated to receive such notice, and by posting the annual meeting schedule for the year 2018 in the Administration Building, and further by filing the annual meeting schedule for the year 2018 with the Office of the County Clerk.
Thank you very much. May I have a motion to approve the communication?
So moved. Second.
Thank you very much. Motion was made by Freeholder Carter and seconded by Vice Chair Kowalski. Clerk of the board, please call the roll.
Freeholder Bergen.
Yes.
Freeholder Carter.
Yes.
Freeholder Estrada.
Yes.
Freeholder Garrettson.
Yes.
Freeholder Hudak.
Aye.
Freeholder Jallo.
Aye.
Freeholder Mirabella.
Aye.
Vice Chairman Kowalski.
Yes.
And Chairman Granados.
Aye.
Chairman, you have 9 votes in the affirmative.
Thank you very much. May I have a motion to approve the 2017 executive session minutes?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Motion was made by Freeholder Mirabella and seconded by Vice Chair Kowalski. Clerk of the board, please call the roll.
Freeholder Bergen.
Yes.
Freeholder Carter.
Yes.
Freeholder Estrada.
Yes.
Freeholder Garrettson.
Abstain.
Freeholder Hudak.
Aye.
Freeholder Jallo.
Aye.
Freeholder Mirabella.
Aye.
Vice Chairman Kowalski.
Yes.
Chairman Granados.
Aye.
Chairman, you have 8 votes in the affirmative with 1 abstention.
The next order of business is to introduce an ordinance pertaining to park fees. Clerk of the board, please read the ordinance by title.
Ordinance number 793-2018, an ordinance to amend the laws of Union County Administrative Code and policies and general legislation by adopting the 2018 Department of Parks and Recreation fees for recreation facilities.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to ask Policy Chair Freeholder Carter to please move the ordinance for introduction.
I move ordinance number 793-2018 for first reading, authorize the clerk of the board to advertise same in accordance with the law. The public hearing and final reading will be held on March 22nd, 2018.
Thank you very much.
I'll second that, Chairman.
Thank you very much. The motion was made by Freeholder Carter and seconded by Vice Chair Kowalski. Clerk of the board, please call the roll.
Freeholder Bergen.
Yes.
Freeholder Carter.
Yes.
Freeholder Estrada.
Yes to, I guess, for the first reading.
Freeholder Garrettson.
Yes.
Freeholder Hudak.
Aye.
Freeholder Jallo.
Aye.
Freeholder Mirabella.
Aye.
Vice Chairman Kowalski.
Yes.
And Chairman Granados.
Aye.
Chairman, you have 9 votes in the affirmative for the introduction of ordinance number 793-2018.
Thank you very much. The meeting is open to the public for the purpose of commenting on resolutions being offered for adoption only. Kindly state your name and town of residence for the record and the resolution to which you are referring and adhere to the 5-minute time limit.
Good evening, Chair Granados, ladies and gentlemen of the Freeholder Board, and newly minted County Manager. Bruce Patterson, Garwood, New Jersey. On page 2, number 226, you had discussed this in the previous meeting. It looks like there's an increase of 200%, I guess, or approximately that. I guess I just need confirmation of that, and that this is more or less a normal feeding to whatever the total amount will be. Just for confirmation on that. I'd like to know what last year's dollar amount was, and since this is a not to exceed, I assume last year's was not to exceed, and I'm just wondering how much it was spent on last year's amount. Page 3, number 232. RG Industries getting $21,600 for the Neptune engine, and you guys discussed that at the last meeting. The question, I heard it looked like it was maybe used 3 times, and I understand a lot of mechanisms are actually based on running time. You know, it was 3 times, and it's going to be overhauled, which sounds strange. It was only 3 times, and if somebody could have just explained the running time, and if that was true, how many hours was that, and why it has to be overhauled. It just doesn't seem right for some reason. On page 4, number 240 and number 242, T&M Associates is getting $63,000 in one and $45,000 in the other, so that's over $100,000, $110,000 for engineering design services, construction administration. This is on both of them for various county projects. I just want to point out that T&M Associates in 4 years had given, donated $94,000 to the freeholders and their cronies for 4 years to the campaigns. 243 on the top with page 5, Negley Engineering getting $372,000. I didn't see that. That's a big number. That's a wow number, as I call it, for engineering design and construction administration and inspection services for the road resurfacing project. I guess the question is how many miles of roads are coming up. That's a big number. But anyway, just want to point it out. Yeah, I asked her, why is it a big number? How about that? I can hear that from Director Graziano. And I just want to point out, Negley gave $20,000 in 4 years to the freeholders and their cronies campaign. Page 6 on number 250 on the top. And again, you guys discussed the Johnny on the spot, open-ended contract. But my question here is, it's not a not to exceed. It seems like this would be the perfect time to have a not to exceed $83,500. I'd like somebody to explain why, because if we don't use it, we're still going to owe them $83,000. And I guess the question is this based on the quantity of porta-johns? How many is that? On the bottom of 6, number 255, yeah, $24 million. Again, this was also discussed preliminarily, but I have additional questions. It mentions Union County Juvenile Detention Center will pay an amount not to exceed $2.5 million. My question is, where's the Juvenile Detention Center getting the $2.5 million? That's a strange thing that they're going to get that much money. Sounds like taxpayer money. Page 7, number 258 and 259. Money's going to the Wiener Law Group. I don't know, I guess Lesniak's involved in that. It sounds like money's suddenly coming to that law group where before it wasn't. And I just want to point out, I think you should vote no on that, because Wiener Law Group back and Freeholder Hudak should be able to recognize this, or maybe he was too young, but way back around 2000, there was a trash station supposed to be put in Linden. However, the brouhaha came about that the trash station was only going to give the residents of Linden $2 a ton for the transfer station as it goes through Linden, where all the other contracts given out were normally $3 a ton, and Wiener Law Firm Wiener was part of it, and he was going to be pocketing undue dollars amount, so he was being shifty. But fortunately, there's enough uproar, and McGreevy wasn't even involved. He was involved in that and fighting it, and that went by the wayside. Number 260 on page 7. That's the litigation on opioids epidemic, and I'd just like to know what the litigation is for. What do you expect? I guess in that opioids involved, maybe that's a health force involved. Number 263 is the
Time's up.
resolution. 263. I'm not a wine connoisseur, but it's called wine casting dinner, and I'm just wondering what the term casting is.
Tasting.
It's tasting.
It's a word needs
Typo.
tasting. Put a T instead of a C.
Thank you very much.
Typo.
No,
What it is.
we're good. Time's up. Thank you very much. Time's up. Thank you very much, Mr. Patterson. Mr. Patterson, I appreciate your comments. There is.
It is
Number
one.
14. Sponsored by the whole entire Freeholder Board.
14.
Freeholder
On the back
resolution.
page.
Go in the back.
Thank you very much.
No problem. Number 226, Director Anderson, if you don't mind elaborating a little bit.
Through you, Chairman, this is an area plan for aging. So it's a federal, state, and local impact. The background and funding comparison, last year totally the county received about 4.1 million. So it is a combination. Yes, it is a 200% increase. Yes, it is an increase. But we are going to be able to get funding coming from the federal, state, and local entities for this grant.
Thank you very much, Director. Appreciate it. Reference to number 232, Director Moran.
Through you, Chairman, this is a 13-year-old vehicle that's owned and maintained by the County of Morris. It has been identified by the fire subcommittee, which is made up of fire officials across the UASI region, as a critical component of our response plan in the case of large-scale fires and with our county's location next to refineries and chemical factories. It's really an integral part of our response capabilities for that.
Thank you very much, Director.
Thank you.
Reference to number 250, it is a not to exceed $83,484. Just to make clarification on that subject. And then number 260, County Council Barry. No, it's not to exceed. 250 is not to exceed.
Yes. Oh, okay. 260, that litigation will basically be directed towards the pharmaceutical industries, the manufacturers, the distributors. It will address costs that have been incurred by the county on a variety of things, not only the medical examiner's office as was reflected before, but also the costs, since we are self-insured, all the medications that have been abused by the over-prescription of these drugs, and the cost of hospitalization, et cetera. So that's what we attempt to recover by the lawsuit, but also the main focus of this lawsuit will hopefully get to be get the pharmaceutical industry and the distributors to stop their abusive use of this narcotic that has caused, as reflected by our director, numerous deaths over the last 3 years and in increasing numbers each and every year.
Thank you very much, County Council.
Welcome.
Number 243, Director Graziano. See if you can elaborate on how many miles.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, it's 23.9 miles this year, and this is not a wow number, as Mr. Bergen stated. This is probably only 4.3% of the full contract, which should be about $8.5 million. And of that, just so you guys know, we're getting $7 million of that 8.5 in state grant funding. So
Thank you
it's
very
a
much,
great
sir.
project. It's a great price. So.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing no one else, I'll formally close this portion of the meeting. May I have a motion to adopt resolutions 2018-223 through 2018-275?
So moved.
Second.
Motion was made by Freeholder Mirabella, seconded by Vice Chair Kowalski. Clerk of the Board, please call the roll.
Freeholder Bergen.
Abstain on 2018-226. Yes, as to all other resolutions.
Forgive me, Freeholder, did you say abstain from Resolution 226?
226, yes.
Thank you. Freeholder Carter?
Yes.
Freeholder Estrada?
Yes.
Freeholder Garrettson?
Yes.
Freeholder Hudak.
Aye.
Freeholder Jallo.
Aye.
Freeholder Mirabella.
Aye.
Vice Chairman Kowalski.
Yes.
And Chairman Granados.
Aye.
Chairman, you have 9 votes in the affirmative with the exception of Resolution 2018-226. We have 8 votes in the affirmative and 1 abstention.
Thank you very much. At this time, I'd like to open the meeting to the public for the purpose of commenting on any governmental issue that a member of the public feels may be of concern to the residents of the county. Kindly state your name and town of residence for the record and adhere to the 5-minute time limit.
Good evening, Chairman Granados, ladies and gentlemen, the Freeholder Board, Bruce Patterson, Garwood. Well, I appreciate, like, the other meeting I was here and newly minted county manager, this is previous, before he was newly minted, came up and introduced himself to me, and I guess, you know, that I do appreciate his temerity actually doing that, being that I was bad-mouthing him. So, but I mean, at least that's a plus, that he's able to face his naysayers. So I mean, that is a positive. I do still have issues with Ed Oaken being county manager from out of state, and I just want to say, I hope maybe there's a possibility. Now, Karen Dinsmore is assistant county manager, and I feel you should be promoting within. So I guess my suggestion to you at this point is, and I guess it's going to sound offensive, but I mean to switch positions, have county Dinsmore go to county manager and Open be assistant county manager, so he can learn the ropes better.
Sounds good.
Because right now you're throwing him into this pool of $500 million budget, 2,800 people, and Karen Dinsmore obviously has had experience, and so that's my suggestion, and maybe it would sit a little better in my view, and probably a lot of other people out there in the public. Walk to Washington. Now that's going to cost the taxpayers, you know, thousands of dollars. One time the county watchdogs came up with, I think it was $10,000. You know, I would hope, being that the county taxpayers paid whoever up here went to Walk to Washington, that maybe you could give like an overview of just what we spent our $10,000 on when you guys went. Actually, yeah, I mentioned about in my letter. I mean, can any of you really name all 21 towns of the county? I'm asking you that. You know, I don't know if you're going to do it. I doubt it, but you know, it is tough. I tried it, but I mean, I do have a system of 5 in the north, 5 in the east, 8 in the center, 3 in the west. You know, and that does help me remember all the names. It's a lot of towns, and then I'm just saying, if anybody wants to give it a shot, you know, see what you can do.
What is it, class now?
Because I can almost guarantee it without looking at your screens. Close all your screens, and I'll put $20 down that none of you could do that. How about that? So anyway, so that's it. And bottom line, I just want to point out, Senator Scutari obviously corrupted the county system, and I'm very disappointed in him because he's an Eagle Scout, and he should know better than that, and it's very sad. Thank you very much.
All right, Mr. Patterson. Couple of points in reference to your comments. I'll let Deputy Director of Human Services know. She's also now, the acting Deputy County Manager, because last time when we checked, it was Amy Wagner, who's Deputy County Manager. Also reference to that. It wasn't on your resume, County Managers. I didn't see you lived out of state right before you got this job, so.
Who knew?
Oh, my guess. Okay, all right. We're trying to figure somebody else now. Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Patterson. Anyone else?
Two for 10. Who's going to speak first? He likes it.
All right, good evening, everyone. For those who don't know me, my name is Jamie Meiselman, resident of Westfield, and also the co-lead of the Union County chapter of JORBA, which, as some of you know, stands for the Jersey Off-Road Bicycling Association. JORBA is responsible for the maintenance and construction more mixed-use trails than any other organization in the state. We currently maintain bike, hike, and horse trails at 21 locations throughout New Jersey, covering several hundred miles of trails. Our trained volunteer crews work closely with the counties, the towns, and other land managers to ensure trails are in the best possible shape. As many of you know, we were also asked by Union County Parks to assist in the planning and construction of the bike trails planned for Watchung Reservation last year. Quick history on that. Again, many of you know, but there are a few new faces. Several years ago, Union County hired an engineering and consulting company, CME Associates, to produce a trails master plan for Watchung Reservation. The plan recommended the inclusion of legal mountain bike trails at Watchung Reservation. CME's plan proposed a network of shared bike and hiking trails, but the county determined a series of bike-only trails would be a better solution. As a result, a plan for a network of bike-only trails was put together last winter by Union County Park staff with feedback from the local mountain bike community and some assistance from Jorba as well. However, as you know, before the plan was implemented, the freeholders voted on May 24th, 2017 to eliminate bike trails entirely from the CME's Trails Master Plan. As you recall, this was a closely split decision by the freeholders. 5 voted to eliminate the bike trails, 3 voted to keep them, and 1 abstained. And as you probably also recall, this was a very controversial issue. Hundreds, if not thousands, of emails were sent to the freeholders, both for and against the bike trails at Watchung. I truly believe that much of this controversy could have been avoided if all stakeholders in Watchung Reservation were brought to the table in the earlier planning stages to hear each other's concerns. During this vote last May, even the freeholders who voted against the bike trails at Watchung suggested that the issue deserves further consideration. Here are some of the direct quotes from some of the freeholders who voted against the trails. Freeholder Carter, and you'll probably remember, you said, "I believe we need to take a look at the total and we can find a win-win solution. We need to step back and bring everyone to the table and find a compromise." Freeholder Bergen, you were the chair at the time. You had a nice long explanation. You said, quote, "I am not opposed to considering the possibility of mountain biking in other county parks or to further look at this issue in the future." And one more from Chairman Granados, quote, "No one is saying that in a couple of months from now or a year from now that this can't be put back on the agenda." So it's been about 10 months since that day and since bike trails were eliminated from the Watchung Master Plan. And in those 10 months, we at Jorba have been working hard to investigate alternative locations for legal bike trails in Union County. However, all of my calls and emails to county parks have been unanswered. I have made inquiries to Freeholder Bergen and to Freeholder Granados, and they have responded to me, but really with minimal tangible information or timelines for action. So this is my biggest frustration. As you know, Jorba and the mountain bike community we don't have a working relationship with Union County Parks. I fear that if we are not in a dialogue with the county early in the process, we can expect similar controversial reaction to any public proposals that come in the future. We are enthusiastic and excited to offer a healthy, enjoyable amenity in Union County, but you're not returning our calls. This relationship needs to be repaired and strengthened. So I'm here tonight to express Jorba and the mountain bike community's desire to rekindle the discussion of legal mountain bike trails in Union County. It's time to revisit the issue of legal bike trails, whether at Watchung or another suitable location, such as Hidden Valley and or Hoodell Quarry. Most importantly, though, I urge you to engage with all stakeholders from the outset to ensure an agreeable outcome this time. Thank you for listening. I hope we can reopen this important dialogue. And I would just really like to know who I can open this dialogue with in the future. That's why I'm here. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. You can give your information. Director Zuber's in the back. You can just talk to him for a little bit, and then we'll have further discussion after the meeting. Anyone else from the public?
Nancy Pivar, 1129 Myrtle Avenue. I'm here tonight to respectfully request the freeholders to take a look at a bill in Congress, H.R. 1349. I did some research about this particular bill, and it's going to amend the Wilderness Act. And I consider one of the parks that was, where there was an issue about mountain biking to be important because it's an urban wilderness. And if it's good enough for 115 organizations throughout the United States to go against mountain biking in the wilderness areas of the United States, I just want to commend the freeholders for their vote last year, because you were on the cutting edge of protecting a wilderness area in Union County, in a very dense area. And it really is a national issue as well as a local issue, and everything starts at the local level. And I really firmly believe that there could be a more, if mountain biking needs to take place, it should not be in the Watchung Reservation. The Watchung Reservation was used during the Revolutionary War because there was a mill there, and it provided powder for the Continental Congress. It was in between the first and second ridge, so the British couldn't see it. It was referenced in a 1923 history book I have here, and I really am concerned about our urban wilderness. I live near a park. I know how heavily used it is. I've seen the destruction in the park, not by mountain biking, but just the density of the population. And I really would hope that you would take a look at this bill that's being proposed in Congress that could amend it. It's being proposed by a Republican from California to allow carts and bikes and wheelchairs and strollers in the wilderness areas, and 115 wilderness organizations, including one in New Jersey, signed on to this to try to stop this and to try to stop mountain biking in wilderness areas. And I would really appreciate the freeholders looking at this bill and perhaps, you know, sending letters to our Congress people to tell them that you also agree with what these 115 organizations around the country have said. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. If you don't mind giving a copy of that to clerk of the board, Bill Terra. Anyone else?
Good evening. My name's Margaret Southwell. I live in Fanwood. One of my great loves is forests and wildlife. To that end, I help restore forests with New Jersey Invasive Species Strike Team for 8 years, and I've worked in the Great Swamp, our national wildlife refuge for 2 years. I've worked in Watchung Reservation for 3 years, and I'm pleased to say that Union County is going to start a Union County Invasive Species Strike Team. I also have earned a license from the DEP to do this. To remind you, invasive species are the most destructive force in our environment, second only to outright destruction. Invasive species are the greatest cause of extinction, second only to outright destruction. We are in an extinction crisis, losing animals and insects at an abnormally high rate. We have lost several animals from Watchung Reservation. I'm going to give you this map. This is a map of Watchung Reservation. Each red dot indicates a colony of invasive plants. I have only just started to survey Watchung Reservation for this. I hope to finish it by May, June. By the time I finish in May, the entire map will be covered with red dots. This is done through an app that was developed by the University of Georgia and New Jersey Invasive Species Strike Team. What do all these red dots mean to the forest? It means the forest of Watchung Reservation is unhealthy. There are parts of it that are dead. They are so infested with invasive plants. There are other parts that are barely healthy but promising. And I think that's where our restoration team will start. The point I'd like to make here is a forest that is in such dire ecological decline cannot withstand the outright destruction of new bike trails through undeveloped forest. When I'm through with this survey, I will send it to you. I will send it to everyone that needs to see it in management. And I will also have a renowned forest ecologist look at it so that he can comment on it and send those comments to you. And I will have New Jersey's finest field biologist comment on it so that he can show he can send those comments to you. Please do not destroy Watchung Reservation any more than it is by adding bike trails to it. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Anyone else from the public?
Hi, good evening. Matthew Schwabel from Cranford. Again, last year's Freeholder meeting, the door was left open to further discuss mountain biking in Union County. I'm here to, again, advocate for mountain biking in Union County. As of now, at least the way that I understand it, if you ride a bike in a Union County park and that bike isn't on pavement, you are in some kind of violation of the law. Union County is one of the only places in New Jersey that I know of that takes such a hardline stance on riding bikes in parks on an area that's not paved. Whether it's in Watchung or, like Jamie said, an alternate location, I support having mountain biking as part of, as an activity that is welcomed in Union County. Mountain biking is a lifelong sport. It's not something that people on the fringes of society partake in. There's interscholastic mountain biking leagues that kids are in. It's been an Olympic event since '96. This is a commonplace activity that a lot of people take part in. It's a lifelong activity, like skiing or running or anything like that, and an outright prohibition of it just isn't going to work. It just creates a lot of anger by people riding in places they're not supposed to because there's nowhere that they're able to ride. It's kind of like the old skateboarding dilemma. You don't want kids skateboarding in the street or wherever. Let's go to a skate park. I mean, for mountain biking in Union County, we're just looking for a place that's recognized as being welcome for mountain biking. Mixed-use trails work all over the state. You're talking about the first and second Watchung Ridges. If you go, I think, 20 or 30 miles out west, you can see that mountain biking does work in the Watchung Ridges, the first and second ridges of Washington Valley Park or Chimney Rock, whatever you want to call it, up in Alamucci, down in Atlantic Highlands, 6 Mile Reservoir. There's places all over where mixed-use trails work. If you want to make bike-only trails, that's great. Either way, I just hope that Union County Parks recognizes mountain biking as a welcomed activity, gets people off the couch, gets them away to get some exercise. I got hit by a car riding my bike in last June. Years ago, I was hit by a car running. I run more than I actually mountain bike. But just being able to get off the road and into nature is a great thing, and having bike trails to do that, I think benefits everyone. I also pulled some old quotes that from the freeholders over the years, and it seems like this is a supported activity. It's just the pace of this has been excruciatingly slow. Freeholder Hudak, in a Star Ledger article almost 4 years ago, you stated, the one thing we should not be doing in our parks is trying to keep our feet in cement. Activities change. You said that in response to a mountain biking article in July of 2014. Before I actually got pressured into joining Facebook, my wife reached out to Chairman Granados, following up on CME's progress on mountain biking, and your response was, I support this project as Parks Liaison, and we are looking at proposed designs of the mountain biking area. Freeholder Estrada, in a meeting in October 2016, in this room, you said it will happen. So I'm looking forward to that happening, whether, again, it's in Watchung or an alternate location. I hope that mountain biking becomes a welcomed activity for people to participate in Union County. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Anyone else?
I'm Charles Weltner from Plainfield. I was involved last year with this effort to stop the mountain biking proposals in Watchung Reservation. When I heard that they were interested in revisiting the issue, I thought to myself, well, you know, what's changed since May? What's different, you know? And then I realized something has changed since May. On June 26, 2017, Kerry Rivera, a 51-year-old firefighter from Patterson, was riding his mountain bike with his brother in the Mills Reservation in Montclair in Essex County Park. Bicycles are not permitted in Mills Reservation. He lost control of his bike and he fell off a cliff. He fell 20 feet to a ledge and to his death. He left behind a wife and 3 young children. Given his age and profession, firefighter, I assumed that he was not doing anything daring. He was just riding along and fell to his death. We have cliffs in the reservations just like they have in the Mills Reservation. Trails run alongside our cliffs just as they do in Mills. Last May, Chief Daniel Sullivan of the Scotch Plains Rescue Squad spoke at the Scotch Plains Town Council on the topic of mountain bikes in the reservation. You can look at his video of his speech on YouTube if you just look for Scotch Plains Watchung Reservation. He said that he had ridden mountain bikes in his youth a lot and he understood the sport, but he opposed introducing mountain bikes into the reservation because of the difficulty of rescues there. He said he had been on rescues in the Watchung Reservation and he said, quote, "It's ugly," close quote. "It's impossible to get equipment in there." He also explained how you can have a well-maintained trail, but a big rainstorm and a washout can change that. He has been on 2 cliff rescues in the reservation. Scotch Plains voted not to support bike trails in the reservation last year. Even if you were to prohibit mountain bikes from going near the cliffs, once you allow the bikes in there, they will be everywhere, including on cliff trails. As Chief Sullivan said, people don't stay on established trails. It's unfortunate. Last night, I was watching a TV program on the Highline Park in New York. The park's motto is a good one, and it would be a good one for Watchung Reservation. Keep it simple, keep it wild, keep it quiet, keep it slow. I think we should do that. I think we should keep it simple, keep it wild, keep it quiet, keep it slow, and I would add, let's keep it safe. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other comments from the public? No? Seeing no one else, I'll formally close this portion of the meeting. Start with Freeholder reports. Freeholder Hudak.
Thank you, Chairman. I'd like to remind everyone that this Saturday, March 10th, is the annual Union County St. Patrick's Day Parade in Union. The parade is one of the most popular events of the year in Union County and is one of the one of the largest St. Patrick's Day celebrations in our state. The day begins at 9 a.m. With the Thornstick Mass hosted with the Elizabeth Ancient Order of Hibernians at St. Patrick's and Elizabeth. Come to the parade route at noon for traditional Irish music, step dancing, and children's activities. The parade itself steps off starting on Morris Avenue and proceeding to Union Center and ending at Roosevelt Avenue. It looks as though the weather looks somewhat positive for the weekend, so we hope it stays that way. I think right now they're calling for sunny skies, so fingers crossed. Any more information you might require, Union County St. Patrick's Day Parade.com is the website, and we hope to see you there. It's always a very good day. I'm looking forward to it. And very quickly, Chairman, I just wanted to commend our Public Works and Public Safety departments in the county for a job well done with the 2 recent storms, a lot of electricity issues throughout the county and ongoing. So we'd certainly appreciate the county's coordinating role as well as the municipalities' local services that got involved in those efforts. But a great job and an ongoing job, and hopefully not too many more this winter. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much, Freeholder Hudak. Freeholder Challo?
No report, Chairman.
Thank you very much. Freeholder Mirabella?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to announce the opening of a new senior lounge at the Mountainside Municipal Building. The new lounge is a great place for senior residents to come together and chat over coffee, tea, any other beverages. Laptop computers, a TV, a game cupboard filled with various board games are there to keep the residents and the seniors taking advantage of that very well entertained. My colleagues and I were able to fund this development for the senior lounge through a senior county focus grant of $25,000. I was on site last week to cut the ribbon with Mayor Mirabelli And it was nice to see the turnout and their appreciation for the Freeholder Board and the good use that those grant dollars are going to. So I'd like to thank the county staff and everybody on the Mountainside team who made that possible. And that's my comments, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Freeholder Marabella. Freeholder Garrettson?
Thank you, Chairman. I just want to thank the guests today who obviously did a lot of homework and sharing just a little background information on a topic that I have not been privy to, but I do look forward to getting more information and being able to obviously chime into that conversation. Just also excited that today is International Women's Day, and I just want to celebrate not Women's Day just today, but every day, because the contributions of international women is very, very crucial and important. I also want to remind all that with the power outage and all of the weather-related incidents, that some folks are still without power, so please be kind to your neighbor, check on the seniors, and make sure that if you're able to please do what you can during these storms. That's all my comments. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Freeholder Garrettson. Freeholder Bergen?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I may borrow some of Freeholder Estrada's bank time tonight, because the longer I speak, the longer before I have to go home to no electricity and no heat. Still 5,000 houses in Springfield without power, about half of the JCP&L houses in Union County without power, and it gets cold awfully fast. I want to again welcome our new county manager, his first meeting. As I've said before, I think he's the right person for the job. I think he'll do a wonderful job, and I'm looking forward to working with him as we all move forward. I do want to address the issue of mountain biking just a little bit. And it was said by one of the speakers, and I do agree, nothing's changed since the last time this board voted. Members of the mountain biking community continue to violate the law and to ride in Watchung Reservation to the detriment of nature and to the detriment of people who are using that park legally. My opinion, which was placed on the record here at length before we voted, has not changed at all. I'm not going to repeat what I said, but certainly my thoughts there are available online, and they haven't changed. That being said, at that time, I did indicate that I would be open to viewing other potential locations within county parks for mountain biking, and I have, in the not quite a year since then, continued to look at other locations that might be amenable to that sport. I have not found any that I find would be any less damaged by the sport or any less problematic, and that's why, certainly from my viewpoint, the mountain biking community hasn't heard from me, because I don't have anything else to tell you. Nothing's changed. I don't have a location to suggest that I could support, and I certainly have not changed my view that Watchung Reservation should not have mountain biking riding there. I find it somewhat disquieting that at least one of the speakers tonight on behalf of the mountain biking community continues to express quote-unquote facts, which are in fact not true, which was part of the problem with the conversation the first time around. And again, I addressed all of that in detail, I think, at the meeting in May before we voted. I do want to move on to a different topic, and that is the recent reports out of Washington that our president has decided that he is not in support of the gateway tunnels. I find that opinion to be extremely disquieting. As I've said many times from this dais, the gateway tunnels are important to Union County. They're important to northern New Jersey. They're important to the entire eastern seaboard and the economy of this country. For our president to use what should be a nonpartisan issue to punish the U.S. Senator from the state of New York who he disagrees with on other issues, I find to be rather childish and unfortunate. I and this Freeholder Board, I'm sure, will continue to support the Gateway Tunnel, the Hunter Flyover, and the other badly needed infrastructure upgrades, which will protect our commuters, our economy, and this country. We have bipartisan support from our U.S. senators, from the Congress people who represent this area, and so I am hopeful that in spite of the President's words, that the funding for this badly needed project will still go forward, but we are yet to see. I want to take this opportunity to congratulate our Union County Clerk, Joanne Rajapi, who on Saturday is being recognized with a Women in American History Award from the National Society of the Daughters of the American Revolution. This annual award celebrates outstanding contributions by women who serve as an example and inspiration to their communities. Honorees are permanently archived at the National Daughters of the American Revolution American History website. And it is appropriate that Joanne Rajapi receive this award. She has served the public of this county for many, many decades, serving as a mayor in Springfield, a member of this Freeholder Board, the first woman chairman of this board. She also served as Assistant Secretary of State for the state of New Jersey. And most recently, she's being recognized for her most recent book, and she's written a number of them, called Northern Women in the Aftermath of the Civil War. So I do want to congratulate Joanne on this award on behalf of this board. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Freeholder Bergen. Freeholder Carter?
You still trying to keep warm?
Yeah.
I'm done.
You're disqualified for banking today, bro.
Thank you, Chairman. I want to take an opportunity to thank DPW Public Safety OEM over the last couple of weeks for the storms and the work that they've done. They've not only done what we here in the county, but also the partnerships that they've done with the municipalities in keeping the residents safe. But I also want to take an opportunity to also thank Ron Zuber and the park staff, because what they've done in keeping our parks safe and all the prep work and things that they've done during the storms, it does make a big difference. But most of all, it's what all of our county employees, county manager, yourself, your directors, and all the employees have done, because these storms came back to back, and there has been a lot of assistance that has been needed, and they've stepped up to the plate. We even have some employees that, you know what, have been still here doing their jobs, and they are also ones that, you know what, are home with no heat and no electricity. So I commend them, and I thank all of them for stepping up to the plate and doing what we need to do for the residents of Union County. In honor of National Women's Day today, I'd like to share some thoughts with you from two powerful women in New Jersey. Senate Majority Leader Loretta Weinberg and Assemblywoman Pamela Lampett, who is also the Executive Director of the New Jersey Citizen Action. Majority Leader Weinberg and Assemblywoman Lampett remind us that women in New Jersey earn 80 cents on the dollar. They've been working on state legislation to guarantee pay equity and earn sick days, and they need all of our support to make this happen. When you look at it, it's even more shocking when you look that black women earn 58 cents and Hispanic women are earning 43 cents. I know that this board does not accept this, and I know the entire Union County Board of Chosen Freeholder agree with me that this is unacceptable. We need to make sure that equity is across the board, and that's why I'm glad we have days like this that can highlight things that we're doing to make sure that everyone is on an even playing field. If you'd like to find out more information, you can get in touch with their offices, or you can get involved with the NJ Time to Care Coalition at njtimetocare.com. I encourage you to connect with their offices, and I encourage you to go to the website and take a look, and also make sure that all are treated with equally throughout ours, not just our state, but especially here in our county. Lastly, I'm truly excited. Next week, on March 14th, we will have our UC STEP kickoff, Branches Against Bullying. I'm looking forward to that. It had to be postponed this week due to the weather, but our youth are really looking forward to it. I want to take an opportunity to really thank Dina Messeros and her staff that she's worked with our youth constantly throughout this project, keeping them updated, keeping communication, and it really is something that hits home with a lot of individuals in the schools. So Branches Against Bullying kickoff is next Wednesday, March 14th. Hopefully our weather will be great, and I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you, Freeholder Carter. Freeholder Estrada.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. A couple of things. First of all, I wanted to, I did say to Public Works of my congratulations on the work they have done, but also the area of Public Safety, who's done an outstanding job, and I didn't say that earlier, so I'm making that correction. Also, Parks and Recreation, there's still a few trees to cut down, but overall, we were able to do an outstanding job, and that's through the maintenance of our parks. Earlier today, there was a lady who spoke about invasive plants. Now, this is not news to us. We're very aware. As a matter of fact, my idea years ago about bringing in some, what are called chivos?
I don't know.
Well, yeah, I know. We know clearly, and if you have traveled in Highway 95 from New Jersey all the way down to Florida, you see the invasive plants like the katsu, who is consistently all over this country, just gathering up, growing to the degree that has been totally out of control. We are no different in the reservoir as well, but I do know, and we have had numerous discussions over the years in terms of how to address it. I know that you're doing a study as to what's actually is out there, and when you're completed with your project, for sure we will welcome it. At the same time, please give us options. Give us your ideas about options. You've had the training by the DEP in terms.
Options for eradicating?
Sure. I mean, there are ways. I mean, one of the things we talked about, for example, a couple of years ago is about bringing in the summer months, extra help to try to get this done, which is we can't, unfortunately, we cannot engage. We can do that afterwards. But I think it is important, and I think the point that you bring across is very important to all of us and to all the residents of the county, because invasive plants have a great impact in terms of the overall healthiness of the reservoir or the just general area. In terms of mountain bikes, I was quoted, it will happen, and that is true. I did say that, and I stand by what I said back last year. And I really and truly believe, let me just say that I believe that we have to find the means where all of our residents can share either those areas or different areas. I think that's a reality. Mountain bikes, if I would go back 10 years, it was probably something that very few people practice today. It's commonly used. As more and more diverse information gets out, more and more people are doing it. It is unfortunate about the fireman who passed away in an accident. Any kind of sport that you practice may happen. I was surprised to hear about the Scotch Plains chief who claims that it's very difficult to enter the reservation and try to retrieve somebody who may be injured, because I think that we have plenty of opportunities where that may happen, riding a horse or something else, and I know that the county EMS has the capability of doing this. Now, I don't know about Scotch Plains, but I do know that that's something that is practiced within our own group of individuals and public safety. So I think I'm going to go back and check on that possibility happening. I do know that we have a very qualified number of individuals in our police department and who are able to do this. We have equipment. We have invested a tremendous amount of money to ensure that we have the right equipment to go into those areas. So, but I will check, because maybe Scotch Plains may not have it, but the county overall may have it. And yes, we do collaborate with other police groups to do services in our areas, and possibly that might be the case. So I will definitely be looking at that, and I appreciate you bringing it up to our attention. First, I want to congratulate Bruce Bergen, who was just, I guess, elected as the chair of the Raritan Valley Coalition. Now, this is not what I consider a gift in terms of being elected, because if there's a difficult chap out there, I can tell you this is one of them. The Raritan Valley Coalition is made of the individuals who are on the Raritan Valley line, who want a one seat to New York, and of course they have some trips that have this been able to. And I just want to clear something up so you'll know that in the future you'll say that Angela Estrada said this on today is what, the 8th of March in 2018. Even though they will build the Gateway Tunnel, if that happens, that still does not resolve the one-seat ride into New York, because the first, I believe, 8 to 10 years of that usage of that tunnel strictly to shut the other ones down to maintain them. After Sandy, unfortunately, the salt water that got into the tunnels has made so much damage to the cost of billions and billions of dollars to try to keep it working, and at the same time, once they really need to take the tunnels out of service to really do the proper maintenance. So we're not going to see this for a long, long time. And the reality is that the limiting factor in terms of getting a one-seat ride to New York has to do with the fact is of number of frequencies going into Manhattan, and that's controlled by Amtrak. And the reality is that in order for Raritan Valley to get another frequency means that they have to take care of someone else. So it is all about a political decision of trying to even the loaves of bread, make sure that this guy gets so many and those gets the other. So, but I want to congratulate my colleague, because I know that it's a very difficult task that he's under. This is something that is funded by the counties who take part. We have been a very active role, as well as Somerset County with my colleague Peter Palmer, who recently retired as one of the senior freeholders in the state of New Jersey. Mm-hmm. But yes, we do definitely need the Gateway Tunnel. We actually needed the other tunnel that was not approved, which would have provided for 3 tubes, which is exactly what we actually need. If we really consider that the Northeast and the Washington-Boston corridor needs to be addressed, this is one way to do it. So hopefully, even though that's an infrastructure idea in terms of the White House, that really what he's talking about is actually P3 projects, so a private partnership that it's basically funded through a whole series of financing mechanisms to create funds, and that may not necessarily be the most, so some other words, we're talking about trillions of dollars for infrastructure, which actually will not necessarily be trillions of dollars. It's private industry being involved in projects, which means that the local municipalities and counties and state will have to pick up a lot of the burden. So, but we'll see. That's to be seen. And of course, the International Women's Day today, very important. I think that it only goes to prove how much work we need to do. I think that overall, as far as society is concerned, and the equality in terms of women and men and society in general, I think something that we need to address as a community. And that will conclude my comments, Mr. Chairman. We'll leave it there for this time.
Thank you.
You caught up.
No.
It was close enough. It was close enough.
No.
It was close enough. Thank you very much, Freeholder Estrada.
I still got a few minutes to go.
County Council.
No comments, Mr. Chairman, thank you.
County Manager.
Thank you, Chairman. I would also like to commend Directors Moran and Graziano for their department's performance yesterday. I'm not sure if everybody's aware, but yesterday was Director Graziano's birthday. He got to spend it with 20 inches of snow. Another person I'd like to commend is Director Anderson. One of the programs she and her department runs is the Meals on Wheels, and they provided extra food for all their members on Tuesday in case everybody was snowed in, which they were. They weren't able to get out on Wednesday and Thursday to deliver, so that's a great job. And that's all I had, Chairman. And also Director Zuber.
Thank you very much. Vice Chair Kowalski.
Thank you, Chairman. Thanks to everyone who came and participated tonight. Freeholder Estrada, of course, we know is an expert on transportation as the head of the North Jersey Transportation Planning Authority. However, I must differ with you somewhat. I have to have some hope for the Raritan Valley Rail Line. And I think from your comments and also Freeholder Bergen's comments, it's fairly clear why the Raritan Valley Rail Coalition approved Freeholder Bergen as the chair this year. I know he's going to work hard for us. And Raritan Valley Line serves not just Union County, but Somerset, Middlesex, and Hunterdon. It's really a state issue to improve the service on this line. We have one-seat rides during the day. We have hope that with some reworking of the resources that are there, we may be able to get another one-seat ride or two. But another positive thing, despite the federal cuts, the New Jersey Transit has had very serious financial problems, as we know, partly because of cuts from state government in recent years. The current governor, Governor Murphy, has said that he is going to address problems with New Jersey Transit. He's making steps in that direction. We have hopes to work with the governor and the Department of Transportation and really make some progress for our residents who ride the train. So congratulations, I think, Freeholder Bergen. And Ms. Southwell, thank you for undertaking this study. Just a few years ago, I was in the reservation with some of our park staff looking at the mile-a-minute plant, and I can't remember the Latin name. You probably know it. But we have, on occasion, done some work with invasives. We've got the Japanese knotweed as well. You're familiar with that. So, yes, of course, I appreciate your dedicating yourself to this, and we would like to know the information. And what you've stated tonight is just another reason why I believe that we really cannot afford to have mountain biking in the Watchung Reservation. It is a very important wildlife area in a highly urban area. It's depended on by so many thousands of people to be able to walk in a little bit of peace and quiet when we have such hectic lives in this. And I appreciate everyone expressing their opinion. I want us as freeholders to serve everyone as much as we can. However, there are some sports that cannot be provided because of the conditions here in the county. And Mr. Schwebel mentioned one of them, which is skiing. Yes, it would be nice if we had mountains that people could ski on in Union County, but we don't. And in my opinion, we do not have the proper environment in the reservation. I'm not saying completely on other parks, but certainly in the Watchung Reservation for mountain biking. So let me also congratulate Freeholder Carter on her recent award with the Rotary Club, added to the list of quite a number of awards you've received lately. I know you and Freeholder Garrettson and I all are pleased to celebrate International Women's Day. I think all of my colleagues would agree that I missed that. Yes, I'm adding you in now, Freeholder. I'm saying all of my colleagues would agree that we are in the midst of perhaps a year or maybe even a decade of the woman, because we have seen women rising and getting involved, and I think that's all to the good. So thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much, Vice Chair. Also like to acknowledge Freeholder Carter on being a recipient for the Rotary Club of Plainfield, North Plainfield. You do tremendous work within our county and throughout the whole entire state. And also Freeholder Bergen, who's going to be recognized by the Boy Scouts of America this month. Also acknowledge you on your hard efforts in our communities. Also, want to acknowledge all the different emergency responders, including the parks and public works staff. I know our dispatch center yesterday received 1,800 phone calls. The highest it's ever received. I know on average it's about 350, and they did a tremendous job in making sure that they got additional dispatchers to help out, and this is such a tremendous effort when it comes to shared services and county government working together with local municipalities for not only dispatching, but also providing police support, public works support, and making sure that we're involved and helping out as any way we can when it comes to our local municipalities. On another note, I would like to commend Director Anderson. You know, before you're outside for a phone call, someone's waiting for you to get back inside, you know. But no, it's a joke. Let's all laugh, guys. Come on, it's a joke. It's a joke. No. Just want to acknowledge you on your progressive efforts, working together with the Office of People with Special Needs and LGBTQ Services in hosting the 2 first roundtable discussions that had representatives from across the whole entire state of New Jersey, and making sure that you're working together with other organizations to advocate for these populations within our county and making sure you're leading the forefront on it. So I just want to commend you and your staff on doing such a great job. So with that said, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.